We've had questions in our live streams, we've had comments in the comment section, and we've also seen multiple videos across the internet about the possible delisting of all these Chinese stocks and China pulling everything out of the US stock market. And we're going to break this down to you guys. We want you guys to have the most accurate and updated information. We're not here to push, we obviously had to kind of clickbait the video a little bit to get you to click on it, so that way you guys can have the updated information. But stick with us. We're going to explain everything and talk about the fears and the concerns and whether or not you should or should not invest into Chinese stocks such as NIO or Alibaba. But before we do, we ask you guys to hit that sub button. It's the best way to support channel. But so the whole point right now is there's been a lot of talk and concern and videos on YouTube and all over the internet about all these Chinese stocks being pulled from the US market. And basically what happened is, I think that somebody found out the way that these stocks are traded, absolutely panicked, and then started this tumble on the internet, and now everyone's freaking out, and that is probably why we're starting to see some of these Chinese stocks pull back, because obviously you didn't want, it being a loss of money to you. So basically what this means is that all these Chinese stocks are invested through VIEs, or a variable interest entity. And basically what that means is that the investors themselves, so you, me, anybody in the US that has invested in, let's say, NIO, for example. NIO's on the US exchange, but we do not actually get to own that stock. It is owned through think of it like a middleman. I'm trying to dumb this down. Think of it as like a middleman, and then we don't actually own the stock, and we don't get voting rights for the stocks. You know how you can get voting rights. I know I just voted for CCIV the other day, so it's like you don't get any of those rights. And basically that middleman is in the Cayman Islands, and they work with the with the companies in China. And this has been going on for years now. This is nothing new. This has been around since the 90s, and I honestly think it's just somebody found out and caused a tumble, and they found out they don't get to own the shares, and they panicked. They sold all their stuff, and it caused thousands of other people to probably do the same, or to freak out. And now we're dealing with this all over the internet.
Like you said, this has been going on since the 90s, so it's been going on for 30 years, and exactly like you said, I think they just found out. It's just something else to help push the fear, because the media in general has always just been bad talking NIO for the most part. So it's just something else to just push. And I saw people that just found this out and panic sold, and it's like, this has been going, it's nothing new. It's not like this just happened. It's not like some law or something just passed where this is, now a thing. Like, this has been going on for 30 years.
Now, along with that, I have seen reports of China starting to crack down on these. They're possibly going to put laws and limitations in for new companies going on the IPO process to go outside of China and go, worldwide for, fundraising and all that stuff, and putting them on, foreign markets. So that could be different for future IPOs. It didn't really say anything about the current ones that went through the IPO process, and the ones that are actual stocks now, like Alibaba and like NIO. Because you think about it. Think about how much money and how much China's going to lose if they pulled Alibaba and NIO and XPeng and Li and all these other Chinese stocks from the US markets. Millions and billions of dollars.
You got to think of NIO too. And I mean, XPeng and whatever, the Chinese government completely backs these companies, so they're not going to want to do that. And then, now NIO is going to be losing a crap ton of money, and, that's going to obviously hurt the company. So I don't really see them doing that with China, or with NIO, I mean. So I think it's just all this fear crap.
And that's the thing. It's always a possibility. You got to keep that in mind. It's always a possibility that China could literally pull the rug on all of these companies and pull everything from the market. But that's all about your risk tolerance and how much you can handle and how much you're willing to win or lose, based on that concern. No one knows if it's going to happen. No one knows when it will happen. If it does happen, it may not even happen. You got to think about it. The China and US, even though there's still tensions, everybody feeds off each other. We all still do foreign goods. We all still ship things across the world. It's still you got to think of it from a level-headed perspective. You can't let the fear run your mind. But let's just, before we get too sidetracked, let's go ahead and hop back into this. So again, this was created in the 90s, and they said as a workaround for Chinese companies that are not allowed to have direct foreign ownership, in which this whole process is illegal in China. That's why they do it through the third party off the mainland of China, and that's where you get the Cayman Islands in, and essentially think of it as like a middleman. But again, this could mean that China could pull the plug on all of this, and then all the investors are out of their money. Like there's nothing we can do. But again, this all comes down to your own research, your own due diligence. Do you want to is that something you're just like, you know what, I'm not even willing to risk, so I'm just going to pull all my money out of all these Chinese stocks? Or is that something that you're like, you know what, I'll take a little bit of risk for the potential growth that, you know, again, it's been around since the 90s. So there's that.
Yeah,
how much money are they going to lose?
You know, they've been on the market since, I don't know, 2013 or something.
Right.
And no one, you know, no one's been worried about this until now. So
right. And you got to realize China's not blind to this. They know that this is going on. This is not something that they didn't see. They clearly know that their companies are going on these other markets. And what I think about, especially with like NIO, is NIO is obviously expanding into other markets. They're one of the best, if not the best EV in China. That could be opinionated. And again, like you said, they're backed by the Chinese government. It's all about power too. So everybody wants to have the most power. Who wants to have the best technology? Who wants to have the best space exploration? Who wants to have the best EV, healthcare, the military? It's all about power. And so China wants to become one of the biggest well-known EV manufacturers in the world. They've come out and said this. They want to push this. And I think that's what they're doing with NIO.
Yeah, and they're not going to care if how they achieve that is by U.S. money.
Right.
Or I mean, it doesn't even have to be the U.S. You know, people in Europe, obviously, and other countries can invest into the American markets. So they're not going to care if, you know, all these other people around the world help them get there.
Right.
They only care about the end goal. So.
Exactly. And so now the real question comes, is NIO going to be delisted? Absolutely not. I do not see NIO. I do not see Alibaba. I do not see any of these stocks being delisted unless they do not apply to the new rule or to the new law that was put into effect earlier this year about them not complying with the U.S. standards. And that has to happen 3 consecutive years in a row in order for them to be delisted. So there's that. I do not see them pulling NIO or any other Chinese stock off the U.S. exchange because of the fact of how much money it brings in. So there's that. And then they're just advancing more and more every single day with NIO alone, and technology, you know, expansion and just everything. So I don't see it happening. I really don't see it happening. I think this panic is all for nothing. I think everybody should just chill out and just relax, do what is best for you and your money. And that means if this is too risky for you, then don't invest into it. If it's a little risky, just put a little bit of money into it. It's all up to you. It's all about what you do with your money, and, you know, that's really all there is to it.
Yep, just like you said in the beginning of the video, it's pretty much someone just found this out and is just creating a bunch of panic, and people are now panic selling and feeding into the fear pretty much.
Yeah. So hopefully it all just settles down and people just move on with their lives, because again, it's been going on for the last 30 years. So nothing new. So don't panic. And if you're that concerned, just keep doing your research, do more due diligence, find out whether or not it's right for you. And really, that's all there is to it. So we hope you guys enjoyed this little update. We wanted to bring this to you because we knew a lot of people were talking about it. We got multiple questions and comments about it, so we thought we'd address it just like everybody else is. But we wanted to bring you facts. We're going to put links in the description as well regarding everything that it comes. We're going to put the SEC filing stuff down there that talks about the whole Cayman Island things. We're going to put an article down there about everything you should know about NIO, and they talk about this as well. All of that's going to be linked in the description, so you can go down there and check that stuff out if you're that concerned. But again, thank you guys so much for all your support, and we'll see you guys in the next video.